reference.
No reference. Okay, fine.
Debate. You know, you can make the point about crowd control and about where you expect there to be large crowds and what to be done and all of that. That's all I'm saying.
Because we will definitely have the same situation tomorrow. We don't want to see intimidation within any political voters tomorrow or members of public coming down to vote. And we don't want a situation whereby one party is more stronger than another party in terms of maybe violence or whatsoever. But the question is, do we actually have a memorandum of understanding within these political parties that, look, this is what we expect, this is what is expected of you, and this is how it should go?
Let me swing that to Olatubosun in Abuja. When you say memorandum of understanding, Mr. Olatubosun, we do know that the parties signed a peace pact. Indeed, they signed 2 of them.
Yes.
They signed 2 of those peace pacts. And the concerns about the fact that it looks as if the peace pact was just a document on paper. But based on what our guest here also talked about, when I asked him the question about, is it about the people or the institution, he says it's not about the people, it's about the institution we need to question. But there's a peace pact between these political parties that are an institution on their own. So how do you mix all of this to get what we want, a secure electoral space?
The issue of signing peace pact has not really impacted on the outcome of the type of violence we are seeing. So I will want to agree with you that this is just a paper, judging by the fact that we're still losing lives. Election is all about putting measures in place, choosing a leader that is going to ensure safety of security and lives. But if we start losing that lives before the election, and if we actually have to be signing a peace pact before we can have a peaceful election, then it means that we have a long way to go as a country. I don't know why the peace pact is only working between the 2 presidential candidates, while we have governors who are making inflammatory statements all over the place. Another thing is, I think we have not really done well, is that nobody has actually been well prosecuted and publicized for electoral violence. And that is one area we need to look into. We need to ensure that people who actually participate in electoral violence pay some heavy price for that, so that others will learn as we go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Woduga, let me bring it back to you and ask, because this issue of security crowd control, I'm coming back to what he was talking about, and being able to control the crowd. You have politicians asking the electorate to not only ensure that your vote counts, but that your vote is counted. So technically, wait behind, hang around. But then when you have so many people hanging around and waiting behind, for and they have failed expectations of what has transpired at that polling unit. Are you for or against people waiting behind, looking at our security architecture?
I think I'm against people marching up
while waiting.
Well,
under the guise of waiting.
Fine. Because the truth there is that tensions will rise. The man who goes there to vote already, of course, is more or less attached emotionally to his vote. Now, as at the time the process for counting starts, whether or not the vote swings in his side or in the other direction, naturally, it will still be emotionally attached. And like it's just like this thing, the Bible says, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I'm in the midst of them. Now, where 2 or 3 are gathered in the name of emotions, eventually it boils down to violence. Now, I think the most important thing which we are missing in all of this is that the foundation is very, very poor. We have a coterie of security agencies, but the problem I think that is there is it has to do more with ego tripping. Why? Now, intelligence gathering is very poor. There is practically no intelligence sharing, and that is why there can't be any synergy. Let's say, for instance, maybe the police, they have some kind of information. I'm not tackling any person in particular. It's just theoretical. At that point in time, I don't think it's a big deal for them to maybe approach, for instance, the DSS. Oh, we have this. Do you have that? They will think by doing that, oh, they are trying to show that, oh, the DSS is superior.
What of when you have counter-intelligence reports or, conflicting intelligence reports and empirical evidence as we've seen in the last couple of months?
No, there is no way. No matter the counterintelligence reports you have, whatever you have is valuable to you. That's what they call intelligence gathering. For you to bring something up to the table which has been categorized as useful, it definitely must be useful. The essence of trying to share it is that all these agencies, they have different responsibilities. The NIA has a different one, the DSS has a different one, the police, they have a different one. And in the course of this, if you hold that to yourself, by the time the people who are affected think, oh no, I don't want to go to this person, we are not subservient to them. After all, we are all working. I'm not answerable to this person, you understand? I'm a service chief. The director of the DSS is after all not a service chief. Why should I do that? Eventually, at the end of the day, it doesn't help. Because had it been the synergy is there, most of these things will have been proactively detonated at a level such that these things won't be fleeing them. It's a disgrace.
Why the office of the NSA is there to sort of...
Very good, very good, I'm happy. But if you look at what the DIG said, he said, for instance, it was kind of bemused when the NSA would come out and say, oh, we are learning that this is and that. What we will have expected is that, oh, you say, oh, we learned about this. We have handed over so people to the security agencies. They are assisting the security agencies to. That's the DIG. So how many DIG? That's what I'm saying. So more or less is confirming what I'm trying to say, that there is some bits of us. I'm not indicting the NSA. I'm not a politician here. But I'm saying we can do more. We should learn from other countries. The United States, for instance, we saw all these things. The FBI, the CIA, they have different things, but it's for a common goal to ensure the sanctity, the safety of both American and citizens.
What you're talking about even plays out on the day where you have different security forces in the area, and you don't know where one order starts and where the other one ends. And
at the end of the day, there's inefficiency. Because that's why I said it has to do with ego tripping. These people, they want to get the credit, the other wants to get the credit. At the end of the day, they start working in a parallel direction.
And nobody's going to get the credit at the end of the day, only the blame.
Let's see if the retired DIG can weigh in on this. The issue of intelligence sharing. Apparently, it looks like each unit wants to stay on its own, even though they speak about sharing intelligence, but it's not really like coming together, so we have loopholes here and there. Do you agree with that? On how do we resolve such?
Thank you for that question, sir. I think the issue of intelligence sharing in this country is still just on paper. Like in America, I think Executive Order 12334, thereabouts, which was promulgated in 1981, make it mandatory for any security service to share intelligence with all the other arms, especially those who are in need of that intelligence to work on it. But here in this country, I'm sorry to say, it is not working. Although the Office of the National Security Advisor is supposed to coordinate all the security services so that whatever intelligence is available will be given to those who need it to work on it, to act on it. But this is not so. And that's why some of the political parties who went on campaign have been asking or have been calling for the restructuring of security architecture in the country so that these things can move. Truly speaking, there is no adequate sharing of security among the security services. If at all the intelligence rather is there, I'm not sure the intelligence that we are talking about is enough to nip some of these crimes in the bud. Otherwise, we couldn't have recorded the number of people, the casualties that were mentioned just a few minutes ago during the campaigns. Because if the intelligence is there...
Let me ask a question. DIG, I'm sorry, DIG, let me ask you a question. And this is by no means trying to put you on the spot in any way, but it's because one used to hear, and some of your colleagues in the past have talked about the fact that there was a whole division of the Nigerian police that was devoted to just intelligence. It was about intelligence gathering. In fact, there were quite a lot of people who pointed at MD Yusuf, one of the former Inspectors General of Police, who was one of those who served in that division. It was all about intelligence sharing. But these days, as you pointed out, there are two sides to this. There's gathering the intelligence, then there's sharing it. If you have gathered nothing, then there's nothing to share. What has happened to that division?
Absolutely. That department was known as the E department in those days.
Yes.
I can tell you that when that department was working very well in the police, if there was going to be any coup in Nigeria, that department would be aware and the authorities would be informed. If there was going to be any crime in the country, that department will come out with it. In fact, there was a time I attended one of these meetings while I was still serving, and I asked that when this Boko Haram started, I did ask one of the security or the intelligence gathering security outfits. I thought, in those days, if there are issues like this, we used to have our men to penetrate the groups. Why are you not having your men penetrating these groups so that we can get to know what they are planning to nip their atrocities in the bud? And the answer was that I know these people are very difficult to penetrate and so on and so forth. I remember in those days too that when there is a hardened criminal, we want to break the criminal, we will post some of our detectives in the cell and we detain them as criminals in the cell so that they could talk to this hardened criminal and we will get whatever information that we need. So like Sean pointed out, I don't think there is enough intelligence on ground to be shared. So I think what we have is maybe paucity, just bits. And what is this intelligence we're talking about? Intelligence is the product of processed, analyzed, and interpreted information or data that can lead us to nip crimes in the bud. But is that what we have? Or we just work with the information and we call it intelligence?
All right, DIG, DIG, I want to put you on pause because we need to take a break at this point. When we come back from the break, we'll continue with this discussion. So please stay on with us.